You ever watch dogs at a park and just wonder what's really going on in their heads? I mean, beyond all the sniffing and the tail wags, there's this incredibly complex social world with its own secret rules. So let's dive in. Let's uncover the hidden kingdom our dogs are living in every single day.
Our source material calls it a secretive universe that only about 1% of people actually understand. So, the big question is, are you part of that 1%? Well, stick with me, because by the end of this, you just might be. Okay, to really get this kingdom, we've got to completely change how we think about scale. We're not talking about vast landscapes here. This is a world measured not in miles, but in paw prints. It's way smaller and a whole lot more personal. I want you to try and visualize this with me. Picture this epic, sprawling map, kind of like a massive chessboard. But instead of squares, it's made up of countless tiny, individual kingdoms, and each one is ruled by a dog. It's this huge empire, all built from these tiny little domains.
And how big is each kingdom, you ask? Get this, about 1 square foot. Just imagine that for a second. A single square foot of space that a dog sees as absolutely, fiercely their own. To us, it's just a patch of grass. To them, it's a throne room. And of course, every kingdom needs its rulers. So inside each one of these tiny 1 square foot domains, we find a king and a queen. And they each have a very distinct and powerful role to play. The king, he's the obvious protector, right? He's super alert, dominant, and always on guard. But the queen, she operates with so much more subtlety. Yeah, she's graceful, but a simple glance from her towards another male can have massive consequences. It's what triggers the king's aggression. So you have 2 very different but equally powerful rulers. So let's break down how these rulers actually interact. We're going to start with the king. His every single action sends a ripple through the entire dog park. It's a clear signal that just sets off this whole chain of events. So, what does happen when a king decides to assert his presence? When he makes a move in his tiny little kingdom, how does the rest of the dog world respond? The chain reaction is, well, it's immediate. The king makes one tiny move, maybe just a shift in his weight or a turn of his head. Instantly, every other male dog in the vicinity notices, and the response is totally automatic. They start marking their own territories. It's like this sudden cascading wave of claims rippling across the whole park. And what we're seeing here, this is a perfect example of what we call territorial behavior. It's that deep, primal instinct to claim and defend a space. And the gestures are unmistakable, right? The intense sniffing of the ground, that deliberate leg lift, it is not just a bathroom break, it's a declaration. It's a giant sign that says, this spot, this is mine. But the king isn't the only one dictating all the action here. Oh no, the queen's power is quieter, it's way more subtle, but honestly, it can trigger an even more intense reaction. Let's see how just a glance from her can change absolutely everything. We know the king is protective, but what is it that actually triggers his aggression? It's not always a direct challenge from another dog. A lot of the time, the spark comes from the one standing right beside him. It all starts with the queen's glance. Just a subtle, almost unnoticeable sign of interest in another male. But you better believe the king always notices. And that single look, that's the direct trigger for his protective aggression. It's this powerful drama, and it all plays out in a split second. So when you put all these little pieces together, you start to see the bigger picture. We're looking at an entire hidden layer of canine society, this complex political landscape that most of us just completely miss. It's a whole world hiding in plain sight. You know, this entire kingdom is really built on 3 main pillars. First, there's the emotional intensity. No action is random, every single glance is charged with meaning. Second, a crystal clear hierarchy. Every dog just instinctively knows its place and the rules of the game. And together, these things create that secretive universe, a complex system of social laws that are always at play just beneath what our eyes can see. And that really brings us to the final thought here. The next time you're at the park, or maybe just watching your own dog in the backyard, look closer. Really look. Look for the tiny kingdoms, the subtle glances, and those incredible chain reactions. What secrets is your dog hiding in plain sight?